Today, Australia has a complicated relationship with its national symbol. Kangaroos are among the world's most iconic, charismatic species. The living, bounding emblems of the country's unique biodiversity. At once sublime and adorably absurd, they are evolutionary marvels. The only large animal that hops. And Australians are demonstrably proud of them. Kangaroos star in movies and TV shows, poems and children's books. Their images adorn the country's currency, coat of arms, commercial airlines, naval vessels, Olympic insignia, and athletic uniforms. To outsiders, the big-footed, fat-tailed, perky-eared creatures are a stand-in for the country itself. Australia means roos, and roos mean Australia. There may be no animal and nation in the world more closely identified. But there are more than twice as many kangaroos as people in Australia, according to official government figures. And many Aussies consider them pests. Landholding farmers, called graziers, say that the country's estimated 50 million kangaroos damage their crops and compete with livestock for scarce resources. Australia's insurance industry says that kangaroos are involved in more than 80% of the 20,000 plus vehicle-animal collisions reported each year. In the country's arid, sparsely populated interior, the common belief is that roo numbers have swollen to plague proportions. In the absence of traditional predators such as dingoes and Aboriginal hunters, the thinking goes, killing kangaroos is crucial to balancing the ecology and to boosting the rural economy. A government-sanctioned industry, based on the commercial harvest of kangaroo meat and hides, exported $29 million in products in 2017 and supports about 4,000 jobs. Today meat, hides, and leather from 4 non-threatened species, eastern greys, western greys, reds, and common wallaroos, have been exported to 56 countries. Global brands such as Nike, Puma, and Adidas buy strong, supple K leather to make athletic gear. And kangaroo meat, once sold mainly as pet food, is finding its way into more and more grocery stores and high-end restaurants. 4 of Australia's 8 states and territories manage annual quota-based culls that supply the industry. Small-scale trial harvests are also underway in Victoria and Tasmania. In many ways, the controversy boils down to an existential question. What is a kangaroo? To some, it's a pest to be eradicated. To others, it's a resource to be exploited. Still others see a beloved native animal to be conserved. These conflicting views are pitting neighbor against neighbor, especially in rural areas. Australia, it seems, is a nation divided over a bounding marsupial. If I let my cattle and sheep die of starvation, I could end up in jail for animal cruelty, a farmer says. But I can see my country degraded by kangaroos, and I can do nothing about it myself. There are some options. One is the commercial harvest. Graziers can allow licensed shooters to cull groups of kangaroos, called mobs, on their land. But as demand for kangaroo products has waned, in part because of publicity efforts by animal welfare organizations, the industry has been taking only a fraction of the annual cull allowed. In 2017, Australia's total quota was about 7.2 million, yet fewer than 1.5 million kangaroos were shot. Another option is cluster fencing. Graziers with adjacent properties can band together and erect a government-subsidized fence around their farms. But critics say the barriers cruelly snare kangaroos, illegally hinder their access to water, and disrupt the migratory routes of other native animals. The final option is simple execution. A grazier can apply for a permit that authorizes killing a specific number of animals. Commercial shooters have to pass a marksmanship test and receive training on animal welfare and hygiene. Each month they have to report the details of their work to ensure that no harvest exceeds the quota. Next comes paperwork. Every shooter must record the date and time of each kill, the name of the property, the species, and all the other information required by the food processor and the state authority. The shooter gets paid 70 cents per kilogram. Some nights he can make $1,000. Time will tell if it worked. Can Australians' conflicting attitudes toward kangaroos be reconciled? If kangaroos were privately owned, then graziers, working independently or through wildlife conservancies, would protect the animals, treating them as assets. They could feed them, lease them, breed them, and charge hunters a fee for access. They just need an incentive to do so. Privatization could also help reduce grazing pressures. If kangaroos were more valuable than cattle or sheep, farmers would keep less livestock, which could be good for the environment. Under this scenario, landholders would work with the kangaroo industry on branding, marketing, and quality control. The government's role would be oversight and regulation. Native Australians have always eaten kangaroos, but they've done so according to strict protocols. Indigenous law permits hunting, but only seasonally and not during times of breeding. In conclusion, the booming kangaroo population in Australia is a complex issue with both positive and negative aspects. While it's essential to address concerns about potential damage to ecosystems and agricultural interests, it's equally vital to appreciate the role kangaroos play in Australia's unique natural world.